Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast. I've been meaning to watch that. I'm your host Monica, and we're back again. New week, new topic, new guests every single week. And guys, today we have a very special guest with us. We actually have a returning guest with us. He came on before to talk about one of his favorite animes, which is Sergeant Frog, which I have been rewatching time and time again because I really do love that show. And we are back again. He is a Twitch streamer who has over 900 followers, so close to 1,000 guys. Let's follow him and get him to 1,000. He is hilarious. He shares really funny stories on his TikTok, where you guys should go follow him as well. He is funny. He is goofy. He's one of my favorite people on the internet. I want you all to give a very warm welcome to Taco Bob. Yay!
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm very happy to be here again. Like real shit. Also, I'm glad to hear you're enjoying Sergeant Frog. That actually makes me smile very hard on that one.
I have been loving it because I needed something fun to watch after finishing the show that we're talking about today, which is Jujutsu Kaisen. The anime that absolutely swept the Crunchyroll Awards. The anime that everybody's been talking about and is coming back very soon with season 3, which is said to be even more intense than season 2. So
I don't think I can handle that.
we really just need to buckle up for the ride. And before we get to JJK, we're going to get into our first segment, which is called Media Mania, where we talk about entertainment news, new releases, and things of that nature. And one thing that I want to talk about before we get started was Zack Snyder, because he still works. He still, makes movies in Hollywood. And recently he made a movie called Rebel Moon, which I think is like a Netflix spin-off of Star Wars.
Ass.
The thing is that I didn't even watch the movie because why would I do that?
Spoiler for you. It was ass.
Yeah.
Like it was a 40-pack of ass. I ain't even gonna hold you like.
It was a 40-pack. What is
Like, I'm gonna push my hair back so you can look me in the eyes when I say this. That shit
Oh my gosh.
was ass. Like, bro, like, this is the guy that kept saying, release the Snyder cut. We need to see Snyder's vision. It took him 4 hours for a comic book movie. That's nothing. But how do you double down on your assness? Okay, I'm sorry. Proceed. Continue. My bad.
No. I mean, you're not wrong. I've never been a huge fan of Zack Snyder, and I feel like my initial taste of Zack Snyder was Watchmen 2009, which I was not a fan of because I really did like the Watchmen comics, which I had read in my public library. And then I watched the movie and I was like, oh, this is
something about it seems off.
This is not the same thing.
Like I remember, because like funny if I like as a kid I remember watching the movie first, right? Really enjoying the movie. But then I had a history teacher when I was like in like high school. I want to say like 10th grade, 9th grade. Around the time when you really start if you're into nerdy stuff, you really start finding your own spacing. He had like a philosophy book about Watchmen. Like, because I remember reading the comic book already, and then because I used to go to his class, used to like exchange books and talk about comic book stuff. He's like, hey, if you even see the Watchmen, you might enjoy this. Give it a read. And I remember going through that book. I remember just going through that, breaking down the characters, why the importance of the time of the year, like the year that's based in, and everything. While the clock itself was it was so many things that was such an important piece of it. So rewatching that in comparison to the book, in comparison to like I was like, bro, you had one of the easiest things in your hand, and you fucked that. Okay.
Honestly, like, whenever I talk to other friends of mine that are really into movies, they seem to really like Watchmen just for what it is. And me personally, because I was such a huge fan of the comics, I could not get into the movie because everything about the movie was so, like, it wasn't like the comics at all, or like anything about the characters matched up seriously.
I do feel like this. I feel like when it comes to like, if we're looking at comic book movies in general that like like, oh, they loosely use characters that are from the like. It does a good job on that. I feel like as a movie, if it was a stand by itself, a movie, not a bad idea. I actually fucks with it, even when it comes to the actual like the ending and everything. Right? I really do fuck with it. But like we said, it like when you're trying to like figure out the characters and all this, I'm like you know.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I get that. And Zack Snyder has definitely made a name for himself in making like superhero movies and just big budget blockbuster films. And Rebel Moon was a film that was announced, I think, last year, and it was supposed to be like this really big draw, this really big thing from Netflix, and it just kind of like didn't just do as well as people thought it was going to do. And I don't know why people expected so much out of him, because Zack Snyder is not someone who, like, time and time again makes like phenomenal films. Like, he made 300, which is a great movie, but like you can't expect a director to make like films that knock it out of the park every single time. Like, he's not Christopher Nolan, he's not David Fincher, you know, he's not like these other guys. And he went on the Joe Rogan podcast. What?
I'm gonna say this, and like when we talk about movies, especially you mentioned 300.
Yeah.
Have you rewatched that movie?
I honestly didn't even watch it in full when I first watched it, and I watched it when I was too young to even comprehend what was going on.
Yeah. Once again, that movie is a TBS TNT fucking movie they love replaying. It's not that good. Like, it was cool for the time. I feel like at the time that movie was made, it was great. The slow-mo slashing, the CGI, that was really dope. Now, nah. Not even. The 300 kick still might be one of the hardest things about that movie, and that's it.
Dang.
We're not going to talk about the bullshit propaganda behind it too, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Right. Well, Zack Snyder went on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he had a lot of things to say. First, he said that Rebel Moon competed with Barbie in terms of streaming numbers because of how Netflix model is set up. And then he said something about Batman and how it's irrelevant to have like not have a superhero that doesn't like kill, which I think is like, I mean, not your place to say, because you no longer are in charge of that story. It's now like
I feel like even as like I'm not even a motherfucker that's a Batman fan. I'm not like, I think the closest thing I get for Batman is like, I love the Batman video games, right? Like the Arkham series, phenomenal. You feel me? And you can see how that game in general has affected, like, especially like open world, free flowing fighting games, right? Like your Spider-Mans and a whole bunch of other sets of that nature. But I'm not really a fan of him. And I'm gonna say, you have to be one of the dumbest motherfuckers out there to really think, oh, it doesn't make sense. He doesn't have a no killing rule. That is like what makes Batman. Because let's be honest, Batman is bat shit, right? That man is out here in a single one man fucking onesie with like chest plate armor that covers up in bullets. Like, he's not there. The only thing that separates him from him and Joker, because he said it before, is the fact that he doesn't kill. Like, he knows if something was to happen, he did that. It's curtains for everybody. Like, you don't understand the actual character that everyone keeps saying, like, oh, you did such a great job at, and this is why your movies fail.
No, I
this
believe
is why you don't do good superhero movies.
Yeah. If you do not understand your characters and understand their motivations and understand where they're coming from and why they do things, then you're going to create like almost shadows of the character, or what you see in the character, just not who they truly are. Which is why Watchmen, the HBO series, is such a better follow-up to the comics rather than the 2009 movie. Because the 2009 movie just looks at Watchmen comics and just tries to make a superhero movie. You don't look at what Watchmen is saying and like the messages they're spreading. Especially like you said before, the year that Watchmen takes place is so significant to American history, and also just like how it affects like so many other things. And the show follows that up perfectly. Yeah, it was never touched on. And then the show follows it up perfectly in like present day politics by exploring Watchmen. And I feel like with Zack Snyder, he's just, I don't know how to explain this. He's just such a bro. Like, he feels like he could just say things in absolutes and it's just gospel. And that's not how it works. Yeah. Like, we exist in the real world, Cyril, not your dreamland, okay?
Like,
be for real.
It's one of those things where I feel like he understands his fan base and his fan base understands him. everybody outside that bubble was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, no, seriously, because you just hit the nail on the head perfectly.
Yeah.
If you don't know what the characters you're making, and you're still going like, these is like the most shallowest version of each character I can find, and you're going, we're going to use that. This is that conversation, like, problems. This is how I knew for a fact I personally wasn't going to like the Snyder cut when this movie came out, or like when hit like the his whole little thing what he was doing came out. I had a coworker who never read any kind of comic books, who never like did any of that stuff, but he loved like the DCU and the MCU, right? He was in love with it. But when things start changing to not to like suit his comfort, you know, different characters now showing up, some people like people of color, insert here. Motherfuckers start getting uncomfortable, and you could tell that was also his fan base. Because it's like, release a Snyder cut, But it's like, you're doing the same beat that any Saturday morning, you know, cartoon did for like these heroes. Some did better, actually. Personal opinion. Like,
yeah. And to be honest, I never really cared about the Snyder cut, because I feel like if you're making a movie, I understand, like, whenever you're making a film and you're making it under a studio heads will have a say and creative control. Yeah. And oftentimes writers and directors do not have a full say in, like, what goes into the movie, and a lot of things change. Like, I once watched a video that Variety did in, like, the making of a Marvel movie. And when they made Ant-Man, I think it was Ant-Man and the Wasp, they started making that movie, I think 4 years before it even came out. And there were so many steps to making that film that it wasn't just the directors, it wasn't just the writers, it was so many different people. There were 20 other people involved in the process that do not end up on the credits at the end of the film. So it's not just like cut and dry. So I get that the Snyder cut was like something the fans wanted to tell his story in full. However, when you are the director, when you are in charge of a story, you know what you want to say. You know what you want to reveal. Just make your movie, bro. Like, that's really that's really it. Longer movie doesn't mean a better movie. Not always.
Yeah, no. Like there are movies like I've been hearing great things about. I think it's Dune 2. I think it is.
Yeah, Dune 2.
I think somebody said the best thing to me and like that got me a little excited to go see it is like I didn't even realize I was in a 2-hour movie. Like, apparently the movie is like 2 hours long, and they say it doesn't feel like that. You're going through the movie, you're going through the world, you're going through this experience, and it's like, boom, 2 hours are done. I remember I tried to watch a little bit of the Snyder Cut. I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Because once again, it doesn't feel like these characters are real. They feel like they are just like, hi, I'm superhero number insert here. And it's like, So once again, long story short, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like at the age that you're at when you're making films, something's just gotta give. You know what I mean? Like, even what he said about Barbie, when he said that, like, more people possibly watch Rebel Moon than people saw Greta Gerwig's Barbie, at that point, I feel like it's nothing short of delusion.
Yeah, you know? No, because, like, I watched Barbie. I watched that movie, like, fucking twice. That's a beautiful movie.
Yeah. It's a great movie.
Really is.
Why would
movie great? And you can tell me that you see, like, more people watched your thing than... Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
How is that possible when no one is talking about your movie?
Like, as people who've been on, like, social media, like, you know, other apps and stuff of that nature, we saw how wild Barbie was getting, like, when it was in theaters, and then when it came out to, like, on stream on HBO Max, we saw the impact. Like, people brought that movie up to, like, people were fucking, like, rewatching it and rewatching it. Like, no one talked about your movie. Yeah. Except for, like, a few new reviewers I noticed that, hey, this is real bad.
Yeah. Like, with Barbie, it was a cultural and, like, worldwide phenomenon. Like, people were talking about that movie before it even came out. And then after it came out, people are still talking about it. And whether it was, like, positive feedback or, like, constructive feedback, everyone was discussing this movie that seemed so different and so unique and just amazingly made. And with Rebel Moon, it's just another one of the films that Zack Snyder is now making for Netflix. The same with his Army of the Dead series. And I watched...
Oh, that was his film.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't watch it. Okay, cool.
I actually watched Army of the Dead simply because Dave Bautista is in it.
Yeah. I literally wanted to watch it because Batista's in it. One of my favorite fucking wrestlers of all time. Mm-hmm. One of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it because of him, but it was like I literally started like watching other things and completely forgot that movie existed until we just talked about it.
Yeah.
Right now.